Bill Gates is someone we're all familiar with, from being the founder of the world's largest software business, Microsoft, and being one of the richest men in the world. Today we'll be going over his portfolio and having an understanding of where he puts his money into. Welcome to Empire Investing, where we'll be sharing the latest in stock market news, technology, and innovative investment strategies for aspiring millionaires and billionaires. If this is your first time watching our channel, please do consider subscribing to see more videos just like this, and with that, let's get started. In writing, Bill Gates' net worth this 2022 is at least $130 billion, and because of their Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they have to publicly disclose where they put their own stock. Now we can have an idea of where he invests his money. Number 1. Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway is a company by Gates' friend Warren Buffett, and it makes up over 45% of his portfolio. It's a holding company that invests in different businesses that Buffett himself has chosen. By holding this stock, Gates is essentially exposed to different big-name companies like Apple, Bank of America, Geico, Coca-Cola, Dairy Queen, and other investments that are within the company. Number 2. Waste Management. Gates has a total of 18.6 million shares in this company and makes up 12% of his portfolio. Waste Management is a company valued at $2.78 billion that manages waste in North America. They have 293 landfill disposal sites, 146 recycling plants, and 111 beneficial landfill gas projects. Over the years, this stock has been doing pretty well. Although the stock is a bit pricey, selling off at $146 per stock, the dividend of 1.8% is a good payoff. Number 3. Caterpillar. Based on the last two stocks, you'll notice that Gates isn't taking the risk with tech companies with high growth. He usually buys stocks that are conservative and still generate cash flow. Caterpillar makes up 8% of his portfolio, which is worth $1.86 billion. Caterpillar is the largest construction equipment company that manufactures machinery and heavy equipment. The stock is valued at $201 per share, and the dividend yield is 2.2%. Number 4. Canadian National Railway. Canadian National Railway makes up 6.5% of Gates' portfolio. He owns 30 million shares, valued at $1.5 billion. Canadian National Railway is the largest railway in Canada, which has over 24,000 employees, 20,000 miles of track, which caters to delivering goods from food, metals, minerals, and so on, which makes the Canadian economy very busy. Number 5. Walmart. Bill and Melinda Gates' fifth biggest stock is Walmart, which makes up 4.16% of Gates' portfolio and is valued at $965 million. Walmart is an American retailer that owns and operates grocery stores, supermarkets, hypermarkets, department and discount stores, and neighborhood markets. Walmart is a company that has been proven over the years as a stable business model and a very safe place to invest. Number 6. Ecolab. Ecolab is a water purification and treatment company. It's pretty obvious by now that aside from conservative companies, Gates is also putting his money into companies that are beneficial for the world: Waste Management and Ecolab. He has $910 million worth of shares and takes up 3.93% of his portfolio. Number 7. Microsoft. As you already know, Microsoft is a company that Gates founded and is worth 3.57% of his portfolio, valued at $828 million. Microsoft is worth $300 per share with a market cap of $2.2 trillion. This makes it the world's second largest company, shortly behind Apple. They have a yearly profit per share of $9.30 and a dividend yield of 0.8%. Number 8. Crown Castle. We all know how important the internet is these days, so owning a piece of that infrastructure means you're in a great position when it comes to business. That's why Gates owns a significant stake in Crown Castle, which is the company responsible for building the internet and cell network infrastructure. Numbers 9 and 10, Kansas City Southern and UPS. Kansas City Southern is a company that deals with the freight rail transportation business. It makes up 2.56% of Gates' portfolio, and then UPS, which is a shipping company, makes up 1.79% of his portfolio. Now there you have it. These are the top 10 stocks in Gates' portfolio. In total, these 10 stocks take up 91.49% of his overall portfolio. The remaining 8.5% include stocks like Coca-Cola FEMSA, Schrödinger, John Deere, FedEx, Coupang, and Google. Now the question remains, how do these people balance their portfolios? If we take Bill Gates' strategy, he goes towards a defensive approach. According to Bloomberg Billionaires Index, Bill Gates has $56.7 billion in the bank, which means that 43% of his assets are in cash. Gates has a different way of thinking. He said it back in 2019, quote, "We're not in the same defensive posture where we're mostly in cash. The strategy that's been used on the investments is to be over 60% in equities. The current yield when it comes to the stock market isn't exactly high, however, that's always the case in all asset classes." What Gates is saying is, although the stock market prices are high at the moment, it's still the best option to go to compared to other assets. So having 60% of his money in stocks while the 40% is in cash is a good balance. I'd like to remind you that this is only for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which is publicly disclosed. Now let's take a look at his personal investing company, Cascade Investments, which takes up the majority of his net worth. Although it isn't a public company and we can't take a look at the investments he has in there, we can assume that since it's run by the same investor who also runs the trust, Michael Larson, the investments might be similar to the ones we talked about earlier. However, some of the investments have to be disclosed, and we'll talk about that right now. As of the moment, the investing company owns 47% of Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts. They also own Beyond Meat, which is a plant-based meat company, Ecolab, Canadian National Railway, FEMSA, John Deere, and Berkshire Hathaway. Another investment that Gates is putting his money into recently is farmland. He owns 242,000 acres of farmland in 19 states with assets totaling more than $690 million, which is, to put into perspective, the size of Hong Kong. This investment is something that won't depreciate in value over time because farmland is needed for food supply. Gates also has investments in real estate. He has a home in Seattle worth $154 million. In 2016, he bought 5 properties in Florida with a total worth of $35.6 million and a horse farm worth $21 million. In 2019, he also reportedly owns an island called the Grand Bogue Cay, which is worth more than $25 million. Apart from that, he also has investments in planes and automobiles. He owns 2 Bombardier Express jets and a fractional share in 1 NetJets plan. He also has a Porsche 911, a 930 Turbo, a Porsche 959, and a fully electric Porsche Taycan. He also has other collectibles, such as Leonardo da Vinci's manuscript valued at $30.8 million, Frederick Hassan's Room of Flowers worth $20 million, Winslow's Lost at the Grand Banks worth $36 million, and George Bellows' Polo Crowd for $28 million. And there you have it. Getting an idea on where Bill Gates puts his money into can give you an insight on how you'll be investing this 2022. That's all for today. What do you think about the diversity of Bill Gates' investments? Join the discussion in the comments below, and if you like the video, please click the like and subscribe button. We'll see you guys in the next video.